In the long storied history of Formula One, tales of dominance and dynasties are common. Ferrari in the early 2000s, Red Bull in the 2010s, Mercedes in the turbo-hybrid era. Automotive manufacturers were particularly affected, which had invested heavily in its F1 team since acquiring British. American racing in 2006 was bleeding money. Their performance on track didn't help either, despite the hiring of world champion engineers and drivers. Honda failed to live up to its promise. But in 2009, the sport witnessed something utterly unique. Hundreds of jobs were at stake. Jenson Button's F1 career hung in the balance. The car, hastily renamed the BGP001, had to be adapted for the new power unit, a significant engineering challenge. The 2009 regulations had tightened rear aerodynamics, but a loophole allowed for a second channel in the diffuser design. Brawn, along with Toyota and Williams, exploited this to create significantly more downforce. The result? The BGP001 was not just competitive, it was dominant. Barrichello, the experienced veteran, provided crucial support and consistency. Brawn GP's lead in the championship grew. But what emerged from the Brackley factory was a masterpiece. But as the cars lined up in Melbourne for the first Grand Prix of 2009, the truth became clear. It wasn't a fluke. It was a statement. Ross Brawn, the mastermind behind it all, had done the impossible. Brawn GP also clinched the Constructors' Championship, beating Red Bull and McLaren. Many of the same engineers, strategists, and leaders who delivered the 2009 miracle were the ones who later guided Lewis Hamilton to multiple titles. It was the first and only time a team had won both titles in its debut and only season. In a sport where millions are spent for marginal gains, a team that had been on life support weeks earlier had just humiliated the giants. In November 2009, Mercedes announced it had purchased a majority stake in Brawn GP. The team was rebranded as Mercedes GP for 2010. Jenson Button left for McLaren. It reminded the world that in Formula One, anything is possible. Nico Rosberg joined, followed by the shocking return of Michael Schumacher. One season, one champion, one miracle. At Honda, he had been working on a revolutionary 2009 car. The new regulations, emphasizing aerodynamic simplicity and the return of slick tires, were meant to level the playing field. Mid-season upgrades from Red Bull, Ferrari, and McLaren began to close the gap. Button, though struggling in the latter half of the season, had accumulated enough points to maintain his lead. Barrichello chipped in with key podiums and a crucial win in Valencia. Brawn GP's development slowed, partly due to budget constraints. By the time the championship reached Europe, the field had caught up. Red Bull, with Sebastian Vettel and Mark Webber, began to pressure Button. And Brawn believed that the car Honda had been developing, the RA109, had real potential. Engineers, designers, and mechanics were left with no team, no car, and no certainty. With virtually no time left before the season opener, Brawn worked frantically to finalize the car, rebrand the factory, and critically find an engine. The race was chaotic, filled with rain, crashes, and red flags. Button, starting from 14th, drove like a man possessed. He weaved through the field, finishing 5th and securing the 2009 Formula One World Championship. But amid the uncertainty, one man refused to let the project die: Ross Brawn. A team that technically didn't exist just months earlier emerged from the ashes of Honda's F1 exit to become world champions. This is the story of how Brawn GP stunned the world. To understand the meteoric rise of Brawn GP, we must rewind to the end of 2008. The global financial crisis had plunged multiple industries into turmoil. On December 5, 2008, Honda announced its immediate withdrawal from Formula One. The sport was shocked. Ross Brawn was a man of immense pedigree. He had engineered Michael Schumacher's championship runs with Benetton and Ferrari. After months of negotiation and turmoil, Ross Brawn led a management buyout. The team was rebranded as Brawn GP. Enter Mercedes-Benz. The German manufacturer agreed to supply Brawn GP with engines. One of Brawn's greatest gambles was the double diffuser. In pre-season testing, jaws dropped. The car was consistently quickest. Some assumed it was a low fuel run. Others dismissed it as testing deception. Jenson Button took pole position. Rubens Barrichello joined him on the front row, and in the race, Brawn GP secured a sensational 1-2 finish. Button won 6 of the first 7 races. His driving was composed, confident, and backed by a car that was untouchable in the early season. But Formula One evolves quickly. Still, the foundation laid by Brawn's early dominance held. Then came the moment of truth. At the Brazilian Grand Prix, with 2 races remaining, Jenson Button needed only a few points to clinch the title. Tears flowed. The paddock erupted. In a sport of predictability, a miracle had occurred. The fairy tale couldn't last, but the DNA of Brawn GP remained. The Brackley base became the heart of the new Mercedes dynasty. So, while Brawn GP only existed for a single season, its legacy is enormous. It showed that genius, courage, and timing could topple giants. And it left us with a story that even Hollywood would hesitate to script: a team born out of collapse, rising from the ashes, and conquering the world. This was the rise of Brawn GP. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this deep dive into F1 history, like and subscribe for more legendary stories from the world of motors.